Brooklyn Independent Television.
It's an election year, so we're going to hear a lot about how both women and minorities may vote for president. But in the business world, they're voting to put themselves in charge by starting and running more firms than ever before. This is true even in sectors like construction, traditionally dominated by men and mostly white men. Here to tell us how New York is trying to level the playing field is Bomi Kim, Director and Vice President for Minority, Women-Owned, and Disadvantaged Business Enterprises at the city's Economic Development Corporation. Bomi, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
So, Bomi, tell me, how many certified minority and women-owned businesses are there across the city?
Currently, there are about 3,000 plus firms that are certified as minority and women businesses with New York City Department of Small Business Services. But that's not obviously encompasses all of New York City's minority and women-owned businesses. So New York City Economic Development Corporation, along with New York City SBS, we're working very hard to try to increase those numbers.
And what does it take to qualify as an MWBE?
One, you have to be a minority or woman, and you have to own at least 51% of your business. And for the city, you have to be at least in business for at least 1 year.
For 1 year?
Yes.
Do you have to have a track record at all?
No. So basically, you need to show that you have been operating your business for at least 1 year. They do look at your finances to see that you're an actual business and that you are actually running, but they're not looking for people who've made lots of money or a lot of profits. Especially for a lot of businesses, this is a small business, so it may take a few years for people to start really making profit. So we're not really looking for that at this stage to get certified.
And you could be certified regardless of whatever sector you're in?
Definitely you can, but I'm not sure of the success rate. The certification really helps when you're going after public contracts. So chances of you as let's say, a convenience store owner being successful in the public sector and being MWB may not really be helpful because the government may not be buying products or services from you. So it's really important to know what they're buying.
So of the sectors that where it does count more so to speak, which sectors tend to focus on women and minority?
Obviously, construction is a huge industry, but there's also a lot of professional services that we look for, as well as supplies, because there are some agencies that buy lots of supplies. So it's good to be selling even office supplies or construction supplies, definitely. But architects and engineers on the professional side, as well as consultants doing, you could be graphic artists, or you're providing some sort of management and operational sort of consulting. But construction really is the biggest, just because it's a lot of money that the city and the state and even the federal government spends.
Invests in those sectors.
Right.
Okay, so tell us, what is EDC doing to sort of encourage more businesses to get certified, and what programs do you have in place to help these businesses?
So New York City Economic Development Corporation works very closely with New York City Department of Small Business Services, SBS, to assist business to get certified. So we do a lot of referral work back and forth between EDC and SBS. So that's one way in terms of encouraging certification. But specifically what New York City Economic Development Corporation is doing is that we have recently just launched 2 new programs that are aimed specifically at the construction industry, because we EDC does do a lot of construction, and we really felt there was a gap in terms of some of the assistance that they were getting. So we launched a program called Blueprint to Success, which is a contractor development program for construction firms. And it's a combination of classroom training as well as one-on-one assistance. So for instance, if you're part of the program and you want to say, I want to go after a bid with a public agency, and you need some guidance, or maybe somebody who just look over your numbers to make sure that your bids are making sense, that you're addressing all the questions that the bid document's asking for, you could go to our consultants and get that kind of individualized assistance. So currently we have about 18 firms that are part of our program. 3 firms are from right here from Brooklyn. One of the firms is Troop Electric, which is, I think they're very close to, actually here in the studio. So we're very excited to have them be part of our program. And hopefully the assistance they gain will help them expand their business and grow. So that's one program. And another program that we felt that we've noticed out in the sector is that cash flow is a real problem for a lot of our businesses, especially in construction, because getting a loan for construction firm is very difficult to begin with, and especially now in current credit sort of market. So we have launched a program called Kickstart Loans. And that program is aimed at our construction firms that are working on EDC's projects. And we work with Bach Capital, which is right here in Brooklyn as well.
That's the Business Outreach Center
yes,
network. Right?
Yeah. So Bach Capital is our lender who's working with us to help our contractors get money up front so they could buy supplies, pay their employees, while they're waiting to get paid from public agencies like us. Because there is always a lack of time between the time that you're doing work until that you get paid. So you could have done work, but it would take you 60 days, 90 days to get paid. In the meantime, you still need to pay your suppliers, you need to pay your employees, and this money is really going to help them meet that cash flow issue.
Yeah, very important, particularly in these credit markets.
Right.
And how many businesses do you have participating in that program?
We just launched that program, so we currently don't have any borrowers yet, but we do have some that are in pipeline that are going through the underwriting process.
So what does a business have to do to sort of get involved with that business?
Well, first of all, it's a very limited sort of pool of contractors who could be part of that program, just because they have to be working on EDC's contract, either as a prime contractor or as a subcontractor.
So they already have to be locked in as a
contractor. They have to, even if they're in process of maybe going after a project. Because the way the repayment happens is the EDC is going to make a direct repayment to Bach Capital to make sure the repayment happens. In some ways, they're using this contract that they have EDC as a collateral with Bach Capital to get the money.
And I can see how the two programs, Blueprint for Success and the Kickstart Loan Program, kind of work in tandem.
Right. So hopefully the idea is that the people who are graduating out of Blueprint to Success are getting the skills that they need to really expand their business, and that they're winning contracts with EDC, and they'll be able to access the mobilization capital through Kickstart loans that they need.
One quick question. It doesn't matter whether they're a subcontractor or a prime contractor?
No.
And do you help subcontractors become prime contractors?
We definitely encourage all of our subcontractors to go after big projects. But one of the things you want to definitely do is not rush the business, because one of the, I think, the reasons that a lot of MWBEs fail in the construction industry is because sometimes they take on jobs that are too big for them. But we definitely do encourage, but I think that's one of the things that Blueprint to Success is going to try to help address, is for you to really assess your business and understand when it's the right time to go after the big projects, and how to line up to make sure that you have all the backup capital that you need to go after those big projects.
And if a business wants to become certified, they could do that through SBS's website?
Yes, they could definitely go through SBS's website, which is www.nyc.gov/getcertified. But they could also call me directly at EDC, and I could also help them with that process as well.
Well, thank you, Bomi. It's been a pleasure talking with you. This is great information. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Great.
Watch this and other Brooklyn Independent Television episodes online at bricartsmedia.org/BIT.